Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, where we'll explore adventure, spirituality, and empowerment through the outdoors and beyond. Join me, Carla Amador, as we focus on topics around the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also hear inspiring stories, get educated, and more. Let's get started. I wanted to take a moment to thank this season's Rise and Wander podcast sponsor, REI. REI is the outdoor gear retailer of the 52 Hike Challenge. I've been a member since I started my 52 hikes in 2012, and they've helped outfit me for all things hiking and outdoors since then. Becoming a member has many perks like 10% back annually on eligible purchases, a satisfaction guarantee, which gives you up to a year to return any purchases you aren't satisfied with, free shipping in the US, and so much more. Please visit them at rei.com. Join me, Carla Amador, for my new offering and program, Rise, a fully supported transformation program in which you complete 52 hikes while going through the 12 steps I've developed for healing and transformation through the outdoors. Each month, we'll go through a different topic with guided weekly exercises, one-on-one coaching with me, and access to a supportive community. This program is for anyone going through a life transition, those looking for a change, and anyone looking for accountability and guidance in their outdoors journey. Learn more and sign up at 52hikechallenge.com. Welcome to episode 5 of Rise and Wander. I'm taking you through all the things you need to know to prepare to do the Camino de Santiago. Today, we're going to be talking all about the gear you're going to need. So I'm actually going to have some notes that I'm going to be going through because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out, but we'll get started. So in the last episodes, we've been talking about what you need to get ready to go, the planning, the logistics, all of the things. And I said that the next thing was going to be really important, and that is your gear and getting ready for the Camino. So as I'm going through, I'm going to go through the list of things. If things come up, I'll add notes. So without further ado, let's get started. So you're going to need different gear depending on if you're going to go and do something like what my mother and I did, which was stay in lodges and private stays that had all that we needed. We had linens and towels and all of that rather than us carrying it. So there is going to be a difference. And then we didn't carry everything on our pack, like our sleeping bags. So very different, right? So that's the traditional peregrino versus someone going a little more in comfort, a little more luxurious, if you would want to say that. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with that. You're staying in lodges and they're going to provide your towels and bedding, so you don't have to carry any extra things except your pack. And you might even be having your luggage transported. But these are the things that you're going to want to pack as you're going on your trip. Okay. And also I'll try to differentiate the difference between the things you're going to be carrying with you, etc. Okay. Let's talk about the things you're actually going to carry with you in your pack first. And this is stuff you should always carry with you. The first thing we always talk about at 52 Hike Challenge is your 10 essentials. If you don't know what that is, I will put a link in the show notes, but I will actually go through that with you right now. That way you're ready to go. And if you've never heard of the 10 essentials, these are actually the 10 items you should carry at all times when you're out, and especially out in the wilderness, because these items will keep you safe if anything does happen. Okay, so let's get started. You need to have some form of way to create a fire, so matches, flint, etc., just in case you had to sleep outside overnight for whatever reason, there would be a way for you to stay safe. Now, you're probably not going to need this on the Camino because there's so many services and people, and it's not as primitive, at least not the Camino that we went on. I know there is actually some primitive Caminos. But anyways, let's just say you always still keep this. Good important thing is a way to make a fire. First aid supplies, especially on the Camino. Something that I really noticed is people did not have a way to treat themselves when I saw a lot of injuries and blisters mainly. So you're going to want to bring really good first aid supplies. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I would put in my first aid kit. You want to always have extra layers. For the most part, our temperatures on the Camino were pretty consistent, but you always want to carry a rain jacket with you. I always say that's a really good shell to carry. It will make you warmer, it keeps the wind out. And of course, if it rains, you have the protection. And when you're doing a trip like the Camino, you're going to encounter so many different days of different weather and things that can happen. So always be prepared and have extra layers. That means a sweater, the rain jacket, even potentially a pair of extra pants or leggings if you're wearing shorts, etc. But always have those layers. And then we're going to always carry sunscreen and sun protection items. That includes your hat, your sunglasses, your sunscreen, your lip balm with SPF, because you're going to be out there all day long and you don't want to be having a sunburn. Okay. And then you're also going to have a compass and a map, some way of navigating. That's really important. So please take a class if you don't know. Also, having your maps downloaded on a phone or some way of navigating. So, like for me, I said I used the Buen Camino app, I used All Trails. I also at times used my map on my phone just to double check myself on things. You're going to want to have some sort of like tools or knife. For me, I like having a Leatherman. Now, if you're traveling from out of state or out of the country, obviously you can't travel with that unless you check that on, which is fine. But if you decide just to, like my mom and I did carry-ons the whole time, you can just buy a temporary tool while you're there. We actually ended up stopping at a store, outdoor store, and getting supplies before we left. And I'll talk more about that. You're going to want to have some sort of a headlamp or flashlight because you never know, like you might want to start really early or you might be out later than you expected. So that's really important. And then have your extra food and water and snacks. Although on the Camino, for the most part, we always had a place to stop for snacks. You still always want to carry something extra because, like I mentioned in the last episode, was that there was one day where a lot of the services were not open and we had a long stretch, probably like closer to a 4 to 5 hour stretch where we didn't really have any services available. So always carry more water than you think and always carry some bars, snacks, fruit, etc. And then, yeah, we've gone through basically your essentials, right? Those are the 10 essentials, and I will put the link on the show notes. All right, you've got your 10 essentials. Great. We've talked about the things that are important. Okay, so now talking about what should be in your emergency kit, what I would bring. Definitely bring some antibacterial ointment and have I like Leukotape tape. I'll put that in the show notes. That tape actually really helps me when I have blisters. It stays on. Sometimes with blister band-aids, they don't stay on for me personally. The moment you start feeling a hot spot, if you start feeling like uncomfortable, you need to stop right away and treat it because by not stopping and continuing to hike on that hot spot, it's going to create that blister. And that could actually mean the difference between having a really great Camino and literally struggling and suffering because you have these blisters that are stopping you from continuing. You might need to take a lot of breaks or maybe even take a day off sometimes if you don't treat it right away. Please, that was the number one thing I saw on the Camino. If anything, bring your blister items and make sure you know how to treat a blister. Now, to be extra helpful, I actually want to go over the blister prevention that I got off of mayoclinic.org, just so that I'm quoting how they recommend you treat a blister. Obviously, you wash your hands. If you don't have that, put your antibacterial. Hopefully, you have some spray or something for your hands to treat yourself. If not, if you can wash your hands with soap and water, make sure your hands are clean. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. And then what you want to do is if you have iodine, go ahead and clean the blister. You may have some other wipes, hopefully maybe some alcohol wipes. And then you're going to want to clean a sharp needle with rubbing alcohol and then prick the blister in several spots near the edge. So if there's any fluid, it drains. If you don't have any fluid, great. You're going to apply your ointment and that really helps. Then put the tape on, okay? Afterwards, make sure when you get into your stay at night, you take the tape off, let it breathe, let it dry out. and keep putting that ointment on. That's what helped me in the past when I've had blisters. Okay, I am going to go ahead and move on into additional items that you'll want to carry in that first aid kit, things like medications that you might have. Definitely, you should always keep some sort of like Advil or pain relief because your knees might hurt. You might, I don't know, you might have a headache. You can get a little bit dehydrated. So, electrolytes are really great. Also, potassium, you can bring something like the Noon tablets. That's a really great item. And just make sure to have water and then have the electrolytes and then tweezers and such. Band aids. I think we've covered what I would recommend you have in that kit. Okay, cool. So we've talked about the 10 essentials. We've talked about the first aid kit. You're going to want to always have your pack. You're going to want to make sure that you have a good pack that has good support, something that can hold the weight in your hips. We had an Osprey day pack and it was like a 25-liter pack. It was great. It had the hydration built in. So that way I didn't have to take my water bottle out every day. I was just sipping from the hose. And make sure you have a rain cover because, like I said, it did rain one of the days we were on the Camino. So this was really helpful. Also, you can, if you don't have access to a rain cover, you can do trash bags and you can cover the bag with the trash bag or the inside of the bag. Put all your things in there so that if it does rain, your stuff at least is protected. So that's a really great way. I always carry a few extra trash bags in my packs. Definitely going to need a way to carry your water, right? Your water bottle, or maybe you're going to have a reservoir like what we had with a hose. But it's always nice to have an extra water bottle. And that's where I would keep water that I wanted super cold, or like I said, the electrolytes, which I highly recommend you plan for. We did buy the electrolytes there, and I believe it was about $20 for a pack of like 12 days or something like that. Okay, so you're going to want to have a good pair of waterproof hiking shoes. For me, I actually wore Oboz Catabatic waterproof. They're called light and fast hikers. So they're higher than a trail runner. So I felt more supported in my ankles, but then they also had the feel of a light trail runner. So that was really good for me. We're going to talk all about footwear in the next episode. So I'm actually going to stop there, but just make sure you have good hiking shoes. So stay tuned for that and make sure to take a listen to that. And then you're going to want to take the rain jacket, which I already explained to you, but have a good rain jacket. Make sure that the rain jacket is actually working, meaning that the DWR, which is called durable water repellency, is still working. After some time, that DWR tends to wear off. So there is a product you can use called Nick Wax to reapply the waterproofing to any waterproof items. Make sure that you check before you leave that your rain jacket is like recently waterproofed or that the waterproofing is still intact. Okay, so you're going to want some sort of a warm sweater or a puffy jacket for chilly mornings. For me, I brought two pairs of bottoms. I brought pants, but you can use convertible pants that turn into shorts, which I highly recommend and I really love. Or you can wear pants or shorts, however you decide to do that, that's fine. But just make sure you have at least two pairs of bottoms so you can switch out while you wash stuff. Make sure to bring multiple breathable underwear and sports bras. Make sure that it's moisture wicking materials, breathable, so that when you're sweating, it's not staying sweaty down there, but it's breathing and it's ultra lightweight and all of that good stuff. A good brand that I like is Ex Officio for the underwear. You're going to want to bring at minimum, depending on also how long you're going. For us, we were doing that 2-week trek, but 2 pairs of good wool or synthetic socks. We used Darn Tough socks. I really love them. A medium cushion. They're really comfortable. They're just great. I can't express enough how much I love this brand, and they have a really great warranty on them as well. So that's for your trek. Obviously, for nighttime, if you want socks, you can bring an extra pair to wear at night when you're in your room. You're going to want at least to bring 2 to 3 lightweight breathable shirts. I used the REI Sahara t-shirt. That was really great. And the Outdoor Research Echo hoodie. I love the Echo hoodie because when it was really hot, I would put that on to protect myself from the sun. And it was thin enough that it's breathable and very lightweight. So I could wear it all day long without any issues. Also, you can wear something like a long sleeve shirt that is more technical but has air vents and protects you from the sun. That's another option. You really do want to take care of your skin and protect yourself because it does get hot and you might be out in the sun for a long day. So make sure you're also applying that sunscreen. I definitely recommend bringing a bandana for hot days. There is a brand that I really like that you can wet, and it's called Koftas Tie, and it basically cools you as you are hiking along when it's a really hot day. That's another brand you may want to check out. And please, oh my gosh, this actually, I'm so happy that I get to guide you on this. So I don't know if you've heard of a Kula cloth, but what it is, it's for ladies. When you go pee, because you're gonna have to pee sometimes, you can just shake off and use a Kula cloth. And a Kula cloth is this little bandana, but it's like a specific way that they've made it. You attach to your backpack and you can just wipe with it and wash it every night. Okay. So instead of, I saw so much toilet paper on the trails. It was so sad. I literally was like, we need everyone to commit to using a Kula. So guess what? 52 Hike Challenge has a Kula cloth. I'm going to put it in the show notes. But please leave no trace. If you are going to bring toilet paper, bring a little trash bag, put the toilet paper in there and throw it away when you get done by the end of the day. Okay. Imagine if all of us just threw our trash and keep doing that with how many thousands of people are visiting the Camino. It's very sad, very sad. Please leave no trace, practice leave no trace, tell people about leave no trace. And I really hope that you also pick up your 52 Hike Challenge Kula cloth. Okay, so next up, we're going to want to have good trekking poles. For us, we ended up, like I said, carrying on our bags. So when we arrived to Porto, we went to the local stores called Decathlon, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But we went to the local sporting goods store and then we bought trekking poles there. And we knew that when we were done, we were just going to leave them at the end of the Camino. And actually, funny, if you do go to Santiago for whatever reason first, there were so many trekking poles available for people to take because I just think so many people are doing the same thing, which I really hope that they are doing something good with those trekking poles because I know the ones we had were really nice and had even aerodynamics included in them. Okay, packing cubes for organizing your clothing was really helpful. That's obviously stuff that you're not carrying on the trail, but you're going to need as you're packing and getting ready. We carried our sandals with us so that when we had breaks, we could give our feet a rest and let them breathe. And that was really helpful. I know a lot of people don't maybe know that tip because I didn't really see a lot of people doing it. But for us, it was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like we have a little moment to breathe and to just let our feet rest after being in enclosed shoes for hours. I usually wear or bring one of two, depending on where I am. For this trip, I brought my Tivas because they were able to work as shoes I could wear at night when I'm walking, and they're really light and pack small. Otherwise, I would usually wear my Kata Bose recovery shoe, and those are really nice as well. They're more like of a really comfortable shoe for the evenings and such. So you definitely want to bring that. You're going to want to obviously have your extra clothes for sleeping and lounging. Maybe it's just something comfortable that you wear. You can even just bring one pair of extra clothes for eating out and then one pair for hanging out at night. And a journal for documenting your experience. Yes, we also have a journal at 52 Hike Challenge. It's specific to your 52 hikes, but hey, who's to say you can't use the journal for your Camino? And it was nice every day, like writing down like what I did, what I experienced, what was happening, and bringing a battery pack and charging cords. Don't forget to have some way of charging your things. So this is more of it has some packing items that you're going to bring for you at the hotels. Obviously, it include things like toiletries and other things that you may be bringing because there's so much more. But this is a really good, just what you're going to need day to day and what to think about. You can really find a lot more detailed lists online. Okay, just a couple of other small things. You may want to bring some earplugs and eye masks if you're staying in the albergues. And let's talk about that. I'm going to actually grab my handy dandy notes here that I have. We have on our website, I will put this backpacking checklist up there. So if you are backpacking the Camino, a lot of the things I talked about are relevant, okay? But there's a few key items that are different, and I'm going to talk about those in just one moment. So the differences are your pack size. If you're going to be backpacking it or doing it as a peregrino, as a pilgrim with carrying everything yourself, you're going to need a larger pack. A 60-liter is probably a good size. You could probably even get away with a 40, maybe potentially a 45-liter, but 45 to 60 liters and above could be okay for you. It's just really going to depend on how much you're carrying, how big your sleeping bag is, how small does it compact. I saw some people sleeping bags that were very small. They had like ultra lightweight sleeping bags, but with ultra lightweight sleeping bags, it's going to be more expensive. Okay. So you're going to need a big enough pack, which is more of a backpacking pack. Make sure you get fitted for one, that it's comfortable for you, that it has good support in the hips, that it has good support. I have a Jade 65 Gregory pack and I love it. It's not ultra lightweight, but it's lightweight. You could also go super ultra lightweight and go into something like Gossamer gear or that kind of a pack, which is super lightweight. It's also going to be more expensive. Okay. So it's really up to you. But I will say something. I highly recommend, like, I'm basically going to get rid of a lot of my stuff now and start going for super ultra lightweight because I'm getting to that phase in my life where I'm like, that extra weight does make a difference for me. So it may be worth the investment. This is a great time to really think about that and spend the extra money for lighter weight items. Okay. So if you're going to try to stay in the albergues, you're going to need a good backpacking backpack. Now, I don't know. You can choose to bring a tent with you. I saw a lady that was carrying a tent. She was just like, if there's a problem, I have a tent. So this is optional. Like I said, there is always the possibility of not finding accommodations for the night if you're going and trying to do the lodges or the albergues. That's going to be something you need to decide on. Sleeping bag, and that again, like I said, mine I think is like this big, and I saw people with something this small. So again, you're going to need a good sleeping bag. Make sure to check the temperature because you don't want to have a 0-degree bag when it's like 50, when it's, I don't know, 80 degrees out at night. That's going to be really uncomfortable. So make sure you bring a sleeping bag appropriate for the season of where you're going to be and the time. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to add on the things that are not on the current list that I just gave you. Let's see, what else are you going to need here that we didn't talk about? Oh, you know what? Something that I do want to talk about is a GPS satellite unit. I did bring my spot device with me because at least I know that if there was an emergency, I could hit a button and at least my family will be notified of where I am. I didn't see too many people with that, and that's okay. It's just an extra precaution. For the most part, we're going to talk about what to expect once you're on the trail in future episodes. But for the most part, I never once felt like I needed to use it or anything like that. It's just something that I want to give you the option of having with you. Yeah, that's it. What I didn't talk about too is if it's going to be chilly during the time that you're going to be going, you're going to want to have other gear that we didn't cover, which is things like your long underwear, maybe extra warmth like a fleece, if it's not already something you're bringing, gloves or mittens, and a warm beanie. Okay. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that if you're going when it's colder, that you have those extra items with you, which means you need more space in your backpack. If it's raining or there's like lots of muddy conditions, you may want to have gaiters, and those are for keeping dirt and mud and snow off of the inside of your shoes and stuff getting into your socks and such. Regarding eating, most likely you're just going to be stopping and grabbing stuff along the way. I personally don't know that you need to bring any of the other cooking items because the Camino has all of that. But I guess if you really wanted to go more primitive, you may need to bring things like backpacking, stove, fuel, dishes, your utensils, a cup, soap to wash your items, small towel, things like that. But again, the Caminos that I'm talking about, like the Portuguese, the French way, you should have access to services along the way. So that's part of why you don't need to carry this extra stuff. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to make sure that I cover all the big things. A quick note, this is just for new people that may not be used to being out for all day and might find that you get tired or you're not feeling great. You may want to bring some chews that give you energy, some energy gels, some energy chews, just to have them if you're feeling like you're starting to bonk out, you're tired, you can have that to help you and give you a little bit of caffeine to help you keep going, give you energy along the route. Okay, hand sanitizer. I did briefly talk about that earlier when we were talking about the first aid kit. Definitely want to bring that. Obviously, I said like your toiletries, a little trowel in case you're going to go. I have what I call my poop bag, my restroom bag. I know that's funny. I always laugh about this, but I have a little sack with toilet paper, wipes, hand sanitizer, my little trowel. It's a really ultra lightweight one and extra trash bags so I can put my trash in there. Like I said, please leave no trace. Ladies, if you have a period, you're going to need to bring the items you're going to carry with you, your prescriptions, any glasses, etc. Insects, a note on insects. Maybe there are insects when you go. I think when we went, if I recall correctly, there were a little bit of mosquitoes, so you could bring insect repellent for that. We have worked with Sawyer in the past, so they have a really good one that you can bring. Picaridin is the one that we use. And yeah, if you're going to bring any other items like your tent or anything like that, you may want to have some extra tools to repair your tent, or maybe always carrying duct tape is a good idea. What I do is I actually put it on my trekking pole for the Leukotape because it came in like a tape thing this big. What I did is I took it apart and I wrapped it around a little stick. And then I knew I did enough where I was like, I know I'm going to be able to have enough for the whole trip. So you could do that also with your tape if you want, but it's just something good to consider. And then you will want to maybe bring a camera, maybe use your phone. I just used my phone. Yeah, anything else like that might make your trip comfortable. Personally, I would not want to be carrying a book around, like a big thick book. Some people are carrying books with like itineraries and such, but if you can get it on your phone, I read a lot on my phone now. So I use my phone as my reader nowadays, just so I don't have to carry extra stuff. And then obviously you need your cash, your wallet, any other personal items that you are going to bring with you. So that's like an in-depth list. All these items can be found on our website. So I will put some show notes with like where to get this backpacking list. This list was provided by rei.com, also the sponsor of this podcast. I really do hope that this was helpful in thinking through what you're going to bring. Obviously, I didn't talk about things that you're going to wear at night and like extra things like if you need to bring a towel, even potentially bringing a liner for your sleeping bag. Those are all extras that you'll have to figure out as you're planning your trip. But I do hope this was really helpful and that it gets you started on the right foot. All right, I'll see you on the next episode.